Start recording. So, my beautiful ladies and Alexandra, thank you so much for joining. So, I actually met Alexandra through Unita. She interviewed him, and I thought, wow, this is an interesting man. I wonder if he will come and wow us. I sent him the message, I sent him a friend request, and the same day he let me know, Cindy, can we do a virtual coffee? Are you ready? I thought, wow, now I even like this man more. And then we had a beautiful session, and we done his forever song, ladies. And he's got an amazing power word. So I just want to say, and then 2 weeks later, the person that I would have done this session, the gentleman, cancelled due to work relationship. He said he cannot make it. And I asked God, who will be, can I put in his place? And the first person, I remember his Alexandra's beautiful laughter out of his stomach. And I thought, I will ask him if he cannot join because he is only coming next year. And he said, yes. So Alexandra, thank you so much for inspiring us. Our theme this week is brave. And I just want to say thank you. And I give it all over to you. Thank you.
My goodness gracious, Sanet. I mean, what a great introduction. And I really, I mean, when you asked me to be part of this, I could not say no. I mean, you know that I love to speak, I love to share, I love to inspire people, I love to motivate people. And this is a group, I mean, after this dancing time, this is a group that is already motivated, I mean, to the hills, I mean, it's really incredible. But and thank you so very much, ladies, for being here. I feel like a minority here. I mean, the only man among all, I mean, is the thorn among the roses here. So thank you so very much. And the topic of this session is bravery. And my topic is living a life of bravery and experience freedom. Now, when we talk about bravery, the first thing that I want to do with all of you is let's define, first of all, I mean, what bravery is. And what a better place to go is to the dictionary, I mean, to find the definition of the word bravery. And bravery in the dictionary, is the quality or state of having or showing mental or moral strength to face any kind of danger, fear, or difficulty. Now, there's another definition by the Oxford Dictionary for bravery, and it's this one. It says, ready to face and endure danger or pain, showing courage, enduring pain. Now, during your life, up until this very moment, I am sure that you heard things like this. Oh, wow, you are so brave. I couldn't do what you did. You exemplified bravery. And perhaps when people speak of the fact that you are brave, they're talking about, well, I mean, perhaps, I mean, you moved to a new country. Perhaps you changed jobs. Perhaps you started a new career. Perhaps you started a new career at an older age. It doesn't really matter. Perhaps you follow your heart without any visible logic. And we could name many more examples like that. Now, when we make the decision to start walking on the road less traveled, is when we begin to live a life of bravery. And why do I say that? You know, I'm sure that you know that the world, I mean, there's almost 8 billion people on the planet today. And most of those people, they follow the big wide road. They follow the crowd. And they're following on that safe highway, but there are just a few of us who decide not to travel on that wide highway. We want to travel along the road less traveled. And to travel along the road less traveled, that demands of us bravery. Because what happens on that road? On that road, you are going to find danger. You have to make decisions in your life. And it takes bravery to make those kinds of decisions. You know, the whole herd, I call it the herd of humanity, they just travel and they are safe doing their own things. But it takes the few of us who make brave decisions, who live a life of bravery, who exemplified courage, that are going to end with success in life. It's not the masses, but it's just the few who are going to arrive and achieve success. Now, you know that I heard it so many times, and I'm sure that you heard it also, that most people in the world, they go about their lives day after day after day as if they were in autopilot. You see what happens, I mean, when you get on a plane, and Sanet is going to get on a plane in a couple of days. And so what happens when the plane takes off or when the plane lands? The captain is in control of the plane. But what happens when the plane reaches cruising altitude? Then the captain is off. You just flip on the autopilot and the plane flies on its own. Like, it makes adjustments, but it flies on its own. And that's what most people do in life. They just go day after day after day for weeks, for months, for years, living on autopilot as if they were hypnotized. Well, let me tell you one thing. Living a life in autopilot is not living a life of bravery. Living on autopilot is not a life of bravery. You see, when a mother rushes to the middle of the road to save a child, that's not living on autopilot, my friends. That is bravery. Because when that mother goes, she's not thinking about any danger. She's not thinking about anything. She's just thinking about saving her child's life. And that is what bravery is all about. You see, sometimes we use bravery and courage in an intertwined kind of way, and they're very similar terms, but there's a difference. You see, when you are courageous, you have some time to think about what you're going to do, and you exercise courage. But when you act with bravery, it's in the spur of the moment. Is that something is going to happen and you just go and do it and you don't think about anything else. When you act with bravery, there is no time to think of anything else. You just are acting in the moment. And of course there's danger, but you're not thinking about the danger. You're thinking about the act of bravery, whatever that act happens to be. So that is the idea of living in bravery. Now, in order to, we talked about going along the road less traveled. And when you're traveling along that road, then you have to be fully awake and fully aware of what decisions you need to take and to make to survive, to keep going. You see, making decisions in life is an act of bravery. And why do I say, sometimes, you may be looking at me and says, listen, everybody makes decisions. But the question is that true? Does everyone make decisions? You see, I'm sure that you know people, I know people, many people who, when they have to make a decision, they think about it, and they keep thinking about it, and then they keep thinking and rethinking about it, and thinking about it a little bit more, and they never make a decision. You see, it's like the person who is a rifle shooting, and he's got a rifle, and he's aiming at the target. And he's aiming, and aiming, and aims a little bit more, and he wants to be perfect, but he never pulls the trigger. He never, because pulling the trigger, my friends, is an act of bravery. Making an important decision that is going to affect you or people that you know requires bravery. And not many people living in the world today have that bravery within them to really make and take that step to really either pull the trigger or make that decision. You see, one of my favorite authors, Robin Sharma, he says, we can either be victims living in victimhood land, or we can be heroes. And I can tell you one thing, victims, people who play the role of victims, never achieve bravery in their lives. Bravery and victimhood do not go hand in hand. They're so far apart. But he says, but those are the people who are victims. But then you have other peoples who are leaders and heroes. And they are the ones who exercise bravery. They are the ones. You know, most people in the world, they live their lives with this motto, and I'm sure that you heard this as well. Hey, Jay, hey, Sanet, don't worry, you are good enough. You heard that, didn't you? I mean, that expression. Don't worry, you are good enough. Well, I tell you, my dear ladies, I hate that expression, because you are not good enough. You are so much more than good enough. And why do we need to stay living in that environment of enough when we can live in an environment of excellence and bravery? You see, that's the difference. You see, most people, they are content to live in a world of mediocrity. And you meet lots and lots of people who are mediocre in the world. Now, what is the definition? I remember one time I asked one of my mentors, hey, Paul, tell me, what is the definition of mediocrity? What is someone who lives a mediocre kind of life? And he gives me an illustration that I would never, ever forget. He says, you know, if you go to Mount Everest, let's say, and you are right there at the bottom of the mountain, and you look up to the mountain, and you said, okay, you are going to start climbing the mountain. And you know, climbing Mount Everest is not something for wimps. It's something for people who are brave, who want to take that challenge on. But then you are at the bottom of the mountain and you start climbing that mountain. And it takes effort. And you are one day and climbing the mountain, and eventually you get halfway, not to the top, but you get halfway up the mountain. And then you said, my goodness, I mean, I had enough. I cannot go a single step further. I cannot do it. And then you are halfway. You look at the summit there. The summit is looking at you, but you're halfway, and you said, I'm giving up. I'm going to quit because I cannot do it. I cannot make it another step. Well, you know what? That person is the definition and the illustration of mediocrity. Going and doing something halfway and not completed is mediocrity, is the opposite of bravery. But when that person gets halfway and he says, I know that it's going to be difficult because the second half of the mountain is going to be very challenging. It would even demand my own life. But I don't care. I'm not stopping until I get to the top. I am not, listen, I'm not giving up. The summit is there and I'm going to claim that summit. And you keep on going. Well, I tell you, that is bravery. That is determination. That is courage. That is the opposite of being mediocre. That is exercising excellence in your life. And that's what it is. Bravery goes hand in hand with excellence, not mediocrity. And that illustration stuck with me. And I'm living every single day of my life, not standing halfway up the mountain, but standing triumphantly on top of the mountain. Now, let me ask you, in the couple of minutes that I have left, let me ask you, is there something in your life that you are doing right now that requires of you, that demands of you, that kind of determination that says, either I do it alive or I do it even if I die doing it, but I will do it. Well, that, my ladies, is bravery. That is a sign of bravery. Not giving up when you have done 95% of the job. not giving up until you've done 99% of the job, is doing it and crossing the finish line. Either you cross the finish line walking, running, jogging on your knees, or crawling, but you cross the finish line. That is a sign of bravery. And I tell you, we are living in a generation that not many people understand the real concept of what being brave is all about. And we're living in a generation that rewards mediocrity. You're good enough. Hey, you went halfway up the mountain. You're good enough. Don't worry about going the other half. Don't worry. Don't stretch yourself. You see, John Maxwell, one of my mentors, used to say, he's got a law. It's called the law of the rubber band. And he says, what is the law of the rubber band? Is when you stretch a rubber band, is an illustration of where you are in life and where you want to be. And there is a stretch in there. And you and I and everyone, we need to stretch. We cannot live in our comfort zones, because living in comfort is not stretching, and living in comfort is not bravery. But when we stretch and when we keep on going to achieve the goals, the dreams that we want to achieve, no matter what the difficulty, no matter what the challenge, no matter what happens, that, my ladies, is what bravery is all about. And I think that we have to be examples today for the next generation of what true bravery really is. I thank you so very much, Sanet.
Wow, that is amazing. Thank you so much, Alexandra. So there's a lady on this group that for me epitomized bravery. It's Dar. She decided to do a book last year. And Dar, can I say how old you were when you decided to do the book?
It was in 2020, our year of the pandemic, and I was 78 years old.
And my beautiful Dar is going all over doing book signing and putting herself, telling people about her beautiful book, her joy, her love of joy and her love of God. So for me, what you have to say, Alexandra, I am trying to be brave, but I have a great example in my beautiful Dar and everything she's doing. So I want to say thank you for inspiring us. Ladies, is there any question for Alexandra?
I have one for you, Alexandra.
Sure. Yes.
I would love to hear about a personal experience of yours where you had to use bravery.
Well, I can, yeah, thank you so very much. I mean, for that question. Yes, great question. You know, it was when I finish my high school in Buenos Aires in Argentina, I was given the opportunity to go to England to improve the language, just only for 3 months, and then return back. And I had never been away from family, from friends, home. Everything was familiar to me. But then I decided I went by myself. I went to England. I landed on Gatwick Airport, just outside of London. And everything is like, everything was new. I mean, I felt like I was I was a fish in a pond that I had never been. And so I started living with an English family. And I can tell you one thing, I mean, after just a few weeks of living there on my own and experiencing isolation, experiencing loneliness, experiencing being, in a sense, being ridiculed sometimes and being mocked, and just all that. How many times I said to myself, I cannot take this anymore. I mean, I'm just going to go back. I really don't care about whether I have to stay 3 months or whatever. No, I'm just going to go back. This is not for me. And yet there was a voice inside of me that says, no, I mean, you have to be courageous, and you have to stick it, and you have to stay here. And then, fortunately, I listened to that voice, and I stayed there. I stuck with it. I did. And then I ended up staying in the UK, not only for 3 months, but for close to 15 years. And those were 15 years of bravery that I had. And those years taught me, you cannot believe how many important lessons that I would implement later on in my life. And that was, to me, for me, I mean, for another person, he could say, well, but that was nothing. Okay, but for me, it was something. It was something big. But I was able to conquer that. And that is what happens when you exercise that courage, that determination, that bravery. And I think that is when you're going through a trouble, then you don't see that. But when you get on the other side, then you see very clearly, my goodness, how thankful I am that even in the midst of difficulty, I did not give up. That is one of the most important feelings that you can have. So thank you so very much for that question.
Wow, thank you, my beautiful Alexandra. Thank you, Dar. And now, my beautiful one, and Alexandra, you are so welcome to stay with us.
Sure.
Thank you. We're going to have Unita. So Unita and Alexandra had a beautiful summer this weekend, and they have inspired the world. So my beautiful Unita, thank you so much. And I know you also have power load shedding on your side. So I'm going to give it all over to you, my beautiful one.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate being in the presence of these great, great ladies. And Alejandra, of course, I was trying to log on to my other device because my Wi-Fi was a little bit sketchy, but I see it calmed down now. So if something happens, I'll just quickly log in with the other device. That's why I was working here on the side. So I just want to say, you know, Diamond Beauties, you know, I absolutely love you. I love spending Monday evenings with you. You are all so special. I want to give a special shout out to a few names here. Alejandro, of course, he's our guest this evening, my colleague, my business partner, and my friend. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. Welcome to Antoinette. Cherie, I met before, and I know Dar very well. I know Yaki and Lauren. Marilyn, welcome. Renee, sorry, I know very well. Sharon and Wendy, I know very well. So, ladies, you are also special. You are loved. You're amazing. This evening, I just want to speak to you. I was asked to speak to you about bravery. And as women, I think sometimes we are called to be a little bit more brave than men, maybe, in the things that we face. That's a blanket statement. So my title that I gave was The Boundaries of Bravery. And there's a reason why I chose that title, because I have to sometimes stop and look at my life because of my personality. I sometimes don't have breaks. So I'll just go, and I'll just do the brave thing. And I'm going to get to why I'm saying that a little bit later in my presentation. But I'm going to speak about the boundaries of bravery. And that's an odd title. Normally we would just, encourage bravery, just do it, just go for it. But I believe that we have to have balance in everything that we do. And I'm going to illustrate to you why. So I want to ask you, and I want you to ask yourself, what does it mean? And Alejandro started in a similar fashion, and he went into, the definition of bravery, which I completely enjoyed. I absolutely loved his presentation as always. I want to ask you, what does it mean to be brave? What does that signify for you? Can you put that in the chat for me? What does it mean if I say bravery, or if I say, come on, girls, we have to be brave now, or if I say, let's discuss bravery, what comes up in your mind? Is there a picture that you see? Is there a phrase that you hear? Dar says, facing my fears. I love that. Let's get another comment as well. If I say bravery or brave, Sanet says, wake up and choose to have an amazing day. Absolutely. I love that. Beautiful, Yaki. Just do it. Like Nike says, yes, absolutely. Who else has a share? What is bravery? What does it mean? There is a children's movie, absolutely a wonderful movie, also titled Brave. Lauren says, get up and move on. Yes, and these answers, and really when you think about it, there's no wrong answer, because it's all how we interpret bravery to be. Sometimes we look at a person and we decide, oh, but that is what bravery is like. That person reminds me of someone that is brave. If I had to look at a person, if I had to look at a profession, I would say firefighters are brave. I would connotate those two. Sari Britt says, never give up. Thank you, Sari. Special heart for you. That's my slogan for my life. Never give up. That's bravery. So what is your definition? Think about it, and think about the fact that it might change during the course of the session, or maybe we will elaborate a little bit on it and give it a little bit of meat on the bone. Does it mean you are willing to stare danger in the face? That could be one translation of bravery. Does it mean you will jump without thinking from the highest height? Are you brave when you stand up for someone else that's being bullied? That's a form of bravery. Are you brave if someone, attacks you and you retaliate? Are you brave if you go shark diving? Who's been shark diving before? I've jumped out of planes, but I don't think I'll go shark diving because it just looks so claustrophobic down there. It's beautiful, but it's not for me. Is that bravery? And the list can go on and on and on, and there are endless examples of people and how they've been brave. Look at your life this evening or this afternoon. What did you do this week that you can say, I did this week and I did something brave. I just put my foot on the water. I started that business. I did something brave. That person was talking bad to me and I actually stood up for myself. Think about an example, and I'm going to ask you later in this talk to bring that example to us. Do you have an example of this week where you felt brave? And think to yourself, how did that make you feel? Because when you act and when you do, you feel something in your spirit. Did you feel empowered? Did you feel emotional? Because it's not easy sometimes to be brave. Sometimes it comes naturally. Other times it's more hard. How did you feel? What happens to you when you have just completed a task that was something that you put yourself out there? You weren't familiar with the circumstances, but you were brave. You seized the day. For me personally, if I have to share what it does for me, if I've been brave, I feel a sense of accomplishment. I feel like I can say, wow, Jay, this is something that you haven't done before, and you were scared going into it, but you made it. Kudos to you. Sometimes I feel relieved. I go, I did this thing. I said what I needed to say. I was brave. Oh my goodness, I feel so relieved. It's over. It all worked out. We've had moments like that. Sometimes I feel a little bit anxious. I'll be brave and I'll turn around and I'll walk away, and to myself, I'll think, my goodness, did you just say that to that person? That was so brave. That could have gone so wrong. Thank goodness God's grace is on my life. So we go through different scenarios. We have different emotions. And I titled my speech, The Boundaries of Brave, for a reason, and I'm going to tell you why. A few weeks ago, I was asked to be the keynote speaker for the CLA tribe, and I did a presentation on the power of discernment. Now, I know for some people who read that title, they thought, oh my goodness, here comes a sermon. I knew they might have thought that, but it wasn't a sermon at all. I went into the keynote speech, and it was a lovely, lovely time with wonderful people. And I talked about Coke. You heard me correctly. I talked about Coke, and I talked about the fact that, and you'll know as the South Africans on here, maybe that's the same in the US. You have Coke, and then next to Coke, you have different brands of Coke. We have Zip Cola, we have, with us, we have Freshers. I don't know what other labels you have, but if you don't know what Coke is supposed to look like, the other brands are also red and white. So you might take a Coke, but it will not be a Coke, it will be a cola. If you open it and you take it out of the packet and you put it next to each other, the color of the two cold drinks will be the same, but they're not. Read the label. They look the same, they smell the same, they might be similar in taste, but they're not the same thing. So I talked about the power of discernment. And so I taught on what it takes us to teach our gut. What is the right feeling that we should be experiencing when we are making decisions? And how do we feel when we truly learn a valuable lesson and we've made a mistake? Sometimes when we are brave in the wrong situation. Sometimes we have to go through trials and tribulations. Sometimes we have to be brave so that we can teach our gut what is the right feeling and what's the wrong feeling. And this only happens through trial and error. Now, in Japanese, we call this, and we do this with karate. I don't follow the Eastern religion, not at all, but I do know the terminology, and I do experience my spiritual center here, and we call it our hara. And that's normally where people refer to as your gut. So we have to really go through trial and error to learn and become familiar with the feelings that we are going to have when we have to be brave and when we have to be maybe refrain a little bit from being brave. This is the same principle that applies throughout. Sometimes we should be careful that we are not brave just for the sake of being brave. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes we have to be careful that we are not brave just for the sake of being brave because we think people are looking. We think maybe they are expecting a certain reaction from us. I feel in life, there is a healthy balance in everything, even in bravery. It is good to have a heart of a champion. We have that. We all have that here. I see the caliber of people on this call. And I know that this is a wonderful group that Sanet and the Diamond Beauties are just nurturing. So yes, we are all champions. It's good to want to go at it all the time. And I'll give you an illustration of how I want to express that there has to be balance. Sometimes maybe we should refrain from just jumping and being brave. Maybe we should just take a step back and rethink. I went to class last week, karate. I had a wonderful Tuesday. I got to teach 3 jiu-jitsu classes. It was phenomenal. On the Wednesday, I had to move offices. On the Thursday, I went to class and I was fighting the sensei. He's a Kiyoshi and he's a 7th Dan. And needless to say, he's been doing this for 35 years, so he's very strong. And I always joke with him and I say, he doesn't have bones in his body. It's more like metal plates. And we were sparring and we were fighting, and I got a few knocks on my cheek and, a few knocks on my stomach, and then he kicked. And the moment that he kicked, I don't know if you know your thighs have this, it's like it makes a dent here where the muscle is. And in that moment, instead of stepping away, because my focus wasn't where it was supposed to be, I stepped in. And he kicked me right in that grove. He kicked me right there where the muscle makes that dent. And I don't know how you call it in English for the US attendees, but it's a lummy. It's with a lummy heart in your been. So that means your whole leg goes numb. You can't feel your leg. And I said, oh, and it was so sore. And this was only the second class for the day, and we continued sparring. We continued, and in the third class, I was called up to fight him again. And I said, Sensei Oos, I said, today I'm going to sit out this round, because by this time I could feel my leg was killing me. And I knew it was going to be blue, and I felt it going like this. It was making this thud. And I thought to myself, if I do this fight, I can do this fight. But if I get kicked on that leg one more time on that specific place, and you know, this is not planned. Sometimes you don't plan a fight. It might just happen. I said, then I'm going to have an injury. And my grading is just 3 weeks away. And I want to do my grading. So I said, whoa, I'm brave. I don't mind the pain. I have a high tolerance for pain. I can do it. I have the training. I'm fit. But if it happens that I get kicked on that same place, I won't be able to grade. I'm brave enough to go, but I refrained from doing that third fight. And I said, let me rather not do it. So choose wisely when you decide to be brave, and when to rather walk away from a fight. Remind yourself constantly that your conduct will always have a reaction. Every action births a reaction. I know people that have, to their own detriment, they've been brave and they've hurt themselves in the process because they didn't think through what they were doing. And I've also known people that have done the same thing and they've hurt other people in the process. You don't have to be brave just for the sake of being brave. Don't get hurt because you want to make a point to the world out there. And walking away from a fight does not mean that you are weak. Walking away from a situation does not mean you are weak. It does not mean you are a coward. Walking away from a fight is sometimes just being brave in a new and in a fresh way. We have to always remember what the word of the Lord teaches us. We know the Bible. The Bible has many scriptures and they don't contradict each other. Sometimes we run into battle and we are fearless and we are brave because God gives us the scripture, the battle and the victory is the Lord's, and we go. And other times he says, whoa, be still and know that I am God. It's not for you to charge in. You don't have to be brave this time. You will be brave for me if you just sit a little bit back and let me handle the situation. And he's the same God, but he can read the scenario so much better than we can because we trust and we pray and we believe. And yet God always has the final say. So there's times when we are brave and we have to develop that discernment in our hara, in our spiritual center. There's times when we charge in. Yes, we do it. We win. And God, like Joshua, he let the sun shine for many more hours than it was supposed to, because that was the day that Joshua was supposed to charge onto that battlefield and be brave. And then in other times in the Bible, God works with his servants and he says, whoa, step away from the fight. Doesn't mean you're a coward. It means you're obedient. It's another way of being brave. Be still and know that I am God. And that is not cowardly. You can be both of these, but learn what the boundaries of bravery is supposed to be. What are they supposed to be? Learn from your experiences and start to trust your gut. Start to trust your hara. And so during the course of that keynote speech that I did for the CLA, I had a question from a lovely man, lovely leader. And he asked me the following, because we always talk about trusting our gut, right? He asked me the following question. And I want to ask you the same question. And I want to see your comments in the chat, because we're going to close off now because we want to still give Dr. Rani a chance. Type in the chat for me, when should you not trust your gut? as we close off. It's a difficult question. When should you not trust your gut? I would love to see these answers. Remember, it's personal to you. There's no right or wrong. When should you not trust your gut? Let's see. I see typing going on. Oh, I can't wait to see these answers. And I'm going to share mine with you. When you have anger. Lovely, lovely answer. Who else wants to give it a go? When should you not trust your gut? That's a very unusual question. When I'm tired or there's too much confusion, says Dar. Yes, I love that. I love that. Would you like to know what I answered? I'm very adventurous. I'm an adrenaline junkie. If you told me now we're going bike riding, I'd be on that bike within 10 minutes. If you told me now we go white river rafting, I'm there. If you say we're going to go skydiving today, I'm in that plane, we're going to go skydiving today. You know what? When I want to do something dangerous, I stop and I don't automatically trust my gut and I say, but is this going to be good for me? When I want to do something dangerous. Wonderful answer from Sanet. When you have anger, be careful. Wonderful answer from Dar. You cannot trust your gut when it's going all chaos around you. Your gut is just as confused as you are. Bring yourself back to that peace and pray and say, Lord, I want to be brave. And it's like Dar says, it's time to pray. I want to be brave. But in this scenario, should I be? Do you want me to charge in? Or do you want me to say, whoa, God says be still and I am God. I'm still brave. I'm still a warrior. I'm still a champion. I'm still victorious. But today, he says, let me handle this for you. That is what I wanted to bring to you, ladies. Remember the boundaries of bravery. I give over to Sanet.
Wow, that's amazing, amazing, amazing. And ladies, any questions for Unita? Oh, wow. Thank you so much, my beautiful Unita. Then we're going to go over to Rani, my beautiful Rani. I am so excited to have you here. I would also love you to meet Sharon. She's also on the group. I meet her on my way back from America to South Africa. And I will introduce the two of you. So I will do it after this session. My beautiful Ronnie, I know you just came off from work and that you are here. So thank you so much for still coming through and inspire us. You, my girl, inspire me so much. In every interview you do, you put that special touch of sparkle, only Ronnie sparkle on your interviews. And I was privileged enough to be one of your viewers as well. Thank you. So my beautiful Ronnie, if I can give it over to you, thank you.
Thank you, Sanet. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. So lovely to be with all of you here tonight. And I'm sorry I missed the first part. I wanted to listen, but I'll watch the replay of all of the speakers. And today I want to talk to you. I did tell Sanet I want to talk about the journey of the hero and the heroine, because we are all very brave people. And when you all look at your life and how much you have all achieved, you have to be very proud of yourself, because the journey that you all have started was not easy, and you are still standing here tonight. So give yourself a big pat on your shoulder, and is so important to congratulate ourselves. And the journey you started was not easy, but you are still holding on. You are still here. You have crossed so many obstacles. You have faced so many situations, so many challenges, whether it's a loss of a relationship, loss of a loved one, a divorce, loss of a job, or any kind of trauma. And in all these situations, you have shown a lot of bravery. And when we think of the word being brave in the material world, it is often measured by physical force, by how much we can lift up, how much we can carry. And when we watch movies, or whether you read books, the hero or heroine, they are always crossing obstacles, crossing mountains, traveling, fighting wars, killing the villains, or fighting the dragons. But in the spiritual world, being brave is measured by how much you can let go. And if you want to achieve your dreams, you have to step out of your comfort zone in order to uncover your inner treasures and to discover who you truly are. And the way to do that, I have seen this as a therapist, that the more you let go, the more you will grow and the more you will move forward. And what you hold on, if you are holding on, I have seen so many clients holding on to their pain, holding on to their past, holding on to the past memories, because what you hold on and resist, it will persist. It will haunt you. So it's very important to let go. And I want to share with you this quote by Joseph Campbell. He said, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." So the good news is nobody is holding you back. It's only you holding yourself back. But you have the ability today. You are so powerful human being, and you have the ability to reject and to let go. And I like this quote by Bob Proctor, and this have been turning into my mind every time I face a challenging situations. And that quote keeps coming, and that quote is as follows by Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher. They keep saying, "Let go of anything that does not serve you, grow you, or make you happy." And if you think of that quote, you will really, really deeply see what is best for you so that you can keep moving forward and what you need to let go. So if you've got a piece of paper, I want to do that quick exercise for you. I will ask you just a few questions. And so the first question is, what issue is holding me back today and is preventing me from moving forward? I know it might be very short today to do that, so if you want to write it down. So what issue is holding me back and preventing me from moving forward? And the question 2, how do I want to continue to live my life? And the third question is, how do I feel right now with that specific issue that is holding me back? So if you have found the issue, and if you are ready to let go of what is holding you back, so I want you to just imagine that situation in front of you that is holding you back. It might be an argument with a loved one. It might be somebody who has offended you. Anything, just imagine that in front of you. You can close your eyes and imagine that. And I will repeat these words. And I want you to finish that sentence. So I'm repeating those words. I will repeat that 3 times. And you finish the sentence. I am letting go of. I am letting go of. I am letting go of. So I hope this will help you to reflect a bit and to let go of something that is bothering you, that you can let go today. You don't need to go to therapy to do that. You can let go today. Because so many people can't do it by themselves. They go to therapy and that's where they can let it go. But you can do it by doing these simple words and reflecting and journaling. Because if you want to grow, you have to change the way you think, You have to change the way you feel, and you have to change the way you do things. Because if you want to build a new you, you have to let go of that old you. You have to build a new version of you. And you have to make that old version of you completely obsolete. You have to completely let go of it. And nobody can do that for you. You are the only person today who can do that for yourself, because you are a very powerful being. And you are here, each one of you, for an amazing purpose. So you can let go of any past circumstances. And I would like to share with you that story that I read recently by Jack Canfield. He went on a trip to Thailand, and he went to visit a museum, and they were telling him the story of the golden Buddha that they found. And that golden Buddha was found, it was not like that gold. It was at the time where there was the war between the Burmese and the Thai people. So the monks, what they did, they covered the Buddha with clay, so that the people who were the soldiers could not find the Buddha, the golden Buddha. So they covered it with clay, and they have hidden it for a long time. And one day, one of the soldiers found that Buddha. And when they were cleaning the Buddha, they found out that it was covered with clay, and underneath was a very beautiful statue, a golden statue of Buddha. And we are like that too. We are like that too, because so many things have been holding us back, and those things are preventing us from letting go. It can be conditioning, it can be our environment, our family, our caregivers, our schooling, our peers, all these things we are carrying with us from our birth until now. And all these are keeping us stuck. So now our job is to peel off around us those layers of clay, and to let go of the things, can be the people, the beliefs, the situation, and our negative thinking as well that hold us back. And as you peel those and you let go, you will start to shine, and you will start to feel alive, and you will feel lighter, and you will feel more free. So you are each one the hero and heroine of your life. So you can decide to who you will allow on your bus. I like to take that analogy of the bus, because I want you to imagine that you are the driver of your bus. You are the master of your life, and you can decide who will get on your bus and who needs to get off as well. Because anybody who comes on your bus, they will drop off at a certain point. They have their own journey. They have their own bus stop, their own places to go. But you will keep carrying on. So anybody who comes on your bus, they are here to teach you something about yourself. And once you've learned the lesson, they will get off, and you will carry on your journey, because you are the driver of your own bus. So I want each one of you here to see yourself as that beautiful, powerful being of light, because you are light, and you come from light, and you always will be light. So remember that you have infinite potential, and you are the architect of your life. You are the hero and heroine of your life. Thank you, everybody.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, my beautiful Ronnie. And you'll be coming back next year for the 20 minutes. I cannot wait. So ladies, and Alexandra, can I just ask you to put on your camera? I just quickly want to do a photograph of us. I'm going to count till 3 and then smile. 1, 2, come on, ladies. Come on. Oh, I know, sorry, you in the dark. Okay, you see all of us with the power shading. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much, my beautiful ladies. Unita, can you tell us why is your song, while I'm cueing it, tell us about your forever song, please, and the reason you have chosen it?
Absolutely. My favorite song is Unstoppable by Sia. I've been in the ministry for 15 years, and her song speaks about, going through all these pains and these struggles behind the scenes, but never showing it, and yet discovering that power within yourself to know that you can really do and accomplish anything you put your mind to. So you'll hear the words of the song describes. She cries, and there's never time for her feelings, and there's never time for her. She's always giving out to the world, but yet that is exactly the things that were meant to drag her down were the things that made her strong. And the Bible says what God has intended for evil, God will turn into good. And that is why I love this song, because God gives all the glory. He has empowered us to be unstoppable. Thank you, Sanet.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Alexandra, for inspiring us. Thank you, my beautiful Unita, for being here and give us always something else to think about. And thank you, my beautiful Ronnie, for coming through and inspire us. So, ladies,
Thank you, Sanet.
may I please ask for your dance? It will be the last time this year in South Africa that I will be asking you for a dance. Next week and last week in November, I will be on the Tuesday, the next morning, and then I will have the power hour, and then I will tell you, please will have a dance with me. So are you ready, ladies? Here we go. Can you hear?
I'll smile, I know what it takes to fool this town. I'll do it.
Sanet, stop the recording.
Oh. Thank you, Ronnie. Where's my sari?